The Altai is more than a mountain range. It is a point of convergence, a place where empires, cultures, and continents have met for millennia. Beneath these vast, silent valleys lies an extraordinary archive, locked within the permafrost. For over 2,500 years, the frozen earth has perfectly preserved the tombs of the Scythian nomads, the Kurgans. These are not mere graves, but intricate time capsules containing tattooed chieftains, sacrificed horses, and elaborate gold artifacts, revealing a startlingly sophisticated culture that thrived at the heart of Asia. The same ice that cradled these ancient secrets still clings to the highest peaks, feeding the turquoise rivers that carve through the landscape. It creates a profound sense of continuity, a tangible link between the world we see and the one buried just beneath our feet. To travel here is to understand that the history of this land isn't just written in books. It is held in the very ground, waiting for the ice to share its stories. The coast of Belitung is a landscape sculpted by deep time, where colossal granite boulders rest on sands of impossible softness. These are not volcanic stones, haphazardly thrown here, but the weathered peaks of a vast subterranean granite belt that solidified more than 200 million years ago. For eons, the patient forces of wind and water have stripped away the overlying earth to reveal these stoic monoliths, their smooth, rounded forms belying their immense age and fiery origin. They are the silent, visible evidence of the Great Southeast Asian Tin Belt, a geological feature stretching for thousands of kilometers beneath the surface. Standing here, amidst the placid turquoise shallows, one feels the profound stillness of geological history. These stones are not just scenery. They are anchors to a primordial past, inviting a quiet contemplation on the planet's long, slow, and powerful memory. When Captain George Vancouver sailed these waters in 1794, he encountered not a 65-mile-long fjord, but a colossal, impassable wall of ice. In the mere 2 centuries since, the glaciers have staged one of the most rapid retreats ever documented, a geological drama unfolding on a human timescale. This means that everything before us, the dense Sitka spruce and western hemlock forests clinging to the slopes, the very soil beneath them, is astonishingly young, a pioneer ecosystem reconquering land that was buried under thousands of feet of ice. We are not simply looking at a relic of the Ice Age. We are floating through a landscape in the active process of becoming. Glacier Bay is not a monument to a frozen past, but a living laboratory of planetary reawakening, a testament to the relentless, powerful succession of life. The first encounter with Lake Tekapo is often a moment of disbelief, a landscape painted in a color that seems to defy nature. But this extraordinary turquoise hue is not an illusion. It is a direct message from the past. For millennia, the great glaciers of the Southern Alps have been relentlessly grinding mountain rock into a fine, silt-like powder. This rock flour is so light it remains suspended in the meltwater, and as sunlight penetrates the surface, these minute particles refract the light, absorbing most of the spectrum, but scattering the distinct blue-green frequencies back to our eyes. The lake, cradled within the vast Mackenzie Basin, itself a canvas carved by ice, becomes a liquid repository for the mountain's slow and powerful story. What we are witnessing then is not merely water, but a luminous archive of geological time, where the very substance of the peaks is dissolved and held in the light. The serene surface of Lake Wanaka belies a creation of unimaginable violence. This landscape wasn't always one of tranquil water. It was once the domain of a colossal glacier, a river of ice over 1,000 meters thick, grinding relentlessly towards the sea. For millennia, its immense weight scoured the bedrock, carving a trough so profound that the lake floor today sits more than 50 meters below sea level. The mountains that frame this view, like the formidable ramparts of Mount Aspiring National Park, were not simply pushed aside, but sculpted by this unstoppable force, their classic U-shaped valleys, the enduring signature of the glacier's passage. Standing here, you realize that the profound stillness is not an absence of power, but its legacy, a quiet testament to an age of ice that shaped a continent and left behind this perfect, breathtaking calm. Spanning a gorge so deep and inaccessible that traditional methods were useless, The construction of this bridge began not with a crane, but with the launch of a military rocket. This novel solution was required to pull the first crucial pilot line across a chasm stretching more than 900 meters, a necessary innovation to conquer the sheer verticality of the landscape. The bridge deck now floats an astonishing 496 meters above the riverbed below, often disappearing entirely into the dense, rolling fog that blankets these mountains. It appears as a delicate steel nerve stitched across an immense wilderness, a testament to engineering ambition in a place that for centuries dictated the limits of human passage. More than a mere crossing, this structure represents a fundamental shift in the relationship between a people and their geography, a quiet, confident assertion that no valley is too deep to be bridged by ingenuity. Lake Wakatipu is not a static body of water, it is a landscape with a discernible pulse. Every 26 minutes, its surface rises and falls by as much as 20 centimeters, a rare phenomenon known as a seiche. For the Ngai Tahu, the local Maori people, this is not a mere tide, but the eternal heartbeat of a slumbering giant, Matau, whose immense form was burned into the earth, leaving this Z-shaped scar upon the land. This rhythmic breathing is a constant, subtle reminder of the immense forces at play. The same colossal glaciers that carved this 80-kilometer-long trough, plunging to depths of over 370 meters, also sculpted the jagged peaks of the Remarkables that stand sentinel over its southern shores. To be here is to witness a place in dialogue with its own deep history, where geological time and ancient legend flow together, proving that the ground beneath our feet is never truly still. Here, at nearly 65 degrees north latitude, Fairbanks exists as a testament to human tenacity, an urban outpost just over 100 miles south of the Arctic Circle. But its modern significance is written not in the gold that founded it, but in the ethereal light that dances far above. The city lies in a global sweet spot, positioned directly beneath the auroral oval, a vast, permanent ring in the ionosphere where particles from solar winds collide most dramatically with our planet's magnetic shield. This precise, almost fated geography is why the aurora borealis isn't a fleeting spectacle here. It is a recurring, predictable phenomenon, studied intensely by scientists at the world-renowned Geophysical Institute. In the profound silence of a subarctic winter, when temperatures can plummet for weeks, the immense frozen landscape becomes the perfect dark stage for this cosmic ballet. It reveals a fundamental truth of the far north, that the deepest darkness is required to see the most brilliant light. From a distance, the Yongding Tulu appear almost geological, colossal rings of earth emerging from the subtropical green of Fujian's mountains. These are not natural formations, but meticulously engineered clan fortresses, a direct response to centuries of migration and conflict faced by the Hakka people. Their construction is a marvel of ingenuity. Rammed earth walls, sometimes 6 feet thick, were fortified with a mixture of sticky rice and brown sugar, creating a structure that was both fire-resistant and cannon-proof. The lower 2 levels are windowless, presenting a formidable, blank face to the outside world, with a single iron-plated gate as the only point of entry. Yet, to step through that gate is to cross a threshold from a defensive shell into a vibrant, self-contained world. Here, entire clans, sometimes numbering up to 800 individuals, lived in a communal microcosm built around a central courtyard, with each family allocated an identical vertical slice of the building. This wasn't just architecture, it was a physical manifestation of a social ideal, a testament to a people who built their resilience and their community from the very earth beneath their feet. Banyuwangi, the fragrant water, marks the final eastern reach of Java, a land steeped in a legend of royal sacrifice. But its significance runs far deeper than myth. This regency was the last holdout of the mighty Majapahit Empire, a final Hindu-Buddhist sanctuary, resisting the tide of Islam that swept across the island over 500 years ago. That legacy of defiance and preservation is not confined to museums. It breathes in the unique dialect of the Ozing people, direct descendants of the Majapahit, and moves in the hypnotic rhythm of their Gandrung dance. From the sulphurous caldera of Ijen to the ancient sacred forests of Alas Purwo National Park, one of the oldest in Java, you feel a sense of an older world, carefully guarded. To stand here is to understand that this is not merely a transit point to Bali, but a custodian of a profound cultural memory, a place where the echo of an empire has never truly faded. Fuerteventura presents itself as a geological elder statesman among the Canary Islands, its story beginning over 20 million years ago on the Atlantic floor. Unlike its younger, more jagged siblings in the archipelago, its once fiery volcanoes have been patiently ground down by millennia of wind, their peaks softened into the sweeping, undulating hills we see today. This relentless erosion is the true architect of the island, shaping a landscape that feels more akin to the nearby African continent than to Europe, a connection made tangible when the warm, Calima wind carries fine Saharan dust across the sea, draping the horizon in an ethereal haze. To stand here is to grasp that the island's stark beauty is not a sign of emptiness, but rather the profound signature of deep time. You are not simply observing a barren vista, but reading the final, serene chapter of a volcanic epic, where every grain of sand is a testament to the slow, powerful forces that sculpt a world. Just a short voyage from the Bali mainland, Nusa Lembongan reveals a character shaped not by ancient temples, but by the more recent rhythm of the tides. Before the first tourist boats arrived in significant numbers, the island's economy was almost entirely dependent on the painstaking cultivation of seaweed. This marine agriculture, which flourished through the 1980s, turned the vast sun-drenched shallows into a submerged patchwork of carefully tended plots. Entire communities would work in unison, their lives governed by the lunar cycle and the low tides that exposed their precious crop. Today, while tourism has largely supplanted this trade, its legacy is woven into the landscape. At low tide, you can still trace the ghostly grid lines of former farms, a quiet reminder of a resilient, sustainable industry, and a testament to the island's ability to draw its sustenance, then and now, directly from the pristine waters that surround it. Bogor's local name, Kota Hujan, translates simply as the Rain City, but the reason for its title is a masterclass in geoclimatics. Cradled between the imposing volcanic peaks of Mount Salak and Mount Gede, the city exists in a natural basin that traps moisture from the Java Sea. This topography forces the humid air to rise, cool, and condense, unleashing thunderstorms on an almost daily basis, more than 320 recorded in a single year. It was this predictable, supercharged climate that back in 1817 convinced colonial botanists this was the ideal location for the Kebun Raya, a sprawling garden that would become one of the world's most important centers for tropical botany. Standing here, you realize the rain is not merely an atmospheric event. It is the very architect of this landscape, a constant, nurturing force that has sculpted a city into a verdant, ever-renewing sanctuary. Many see Lombok as Bali's quieter neighbor, but the true division runs far deeper than the 25-kilometer strait that separates them. This is the Wallace Line, an invisible biogeographical boundary first identified in the 19th century by naturalist Alfred Russel Wallace. He realized this deep-water trench, a relic of ancient sea levels, had acted as a formidable barrier for millennia, preventing the mingling of Asia's fauna with that of Australia. The consequences are profound and immediate. Here, the familiar birds of the Asian mainland begin to fade, replaced by the first outposts of an Australasian world. The raucous calls of sulfur-crested cockatoos echo where woodpeckers fall silent. The shift is subtle, yet it underpins the very character of the island's ecosystem, from its insects to its flora. To cross from Bali to Lombok is therefore not merely a journey across water, but a step across an ancient, evolutionary threshold, a passage into a distinct biological continent that has been charting its own course for millions of years. Long before the first Spanish sails appeared on the horizon, this very ground was the seat of power for the Guanartemes, the pre-Hispanic kings of Agaldar. Yet the most eloquent testament to their world wasn't a fortress, but a secret held within the volcanic earth, discovered by a farmer's chance in the 19th century. Inside the Cueva Pintada, the painted cave, one steps into a silent, sacred space. The walls are a breathtaking mural of precise geometric motifs, a symphony of triangles, squares, and concentric circles in red, white, and black ochre. This is no primitive scrawling. Archaeologists now interpret these patterns as a sophisticated lunar calendar or a visual map of a family's lineage, a form of communication from a society without a written alphabet. To stand here, in this carefully preserved chamber, while the modern town bustles just above, is to feel the immense weight and fragility of history. These paintings are a direct dialogue with the past, a sophisticated expression of a culture's place in the cosmos, proving that a civilization's legacy can be measured not just in stone, but in the delicate pigments that defy the passage of 1,000 years. While its neighbors vied for political dominance, Arezzo quietly built an empire founded not on conquest, but on the very earth beneath it. Long before the Romans, this was one of the 12 great city-states of the Etruscan League, a civilization of master metallurgists. The surrounding hills yielded rich deposits of copper and iron, which the Aretines transformed into tools, weapons, and exquisite art, making the city a vital economic engine of ancient Italy. This legacy of craftsmanship is not a relic, it's a living pulse. You feel it in the quiet confidence of the goldsmiths in their workshops, and see it in the solid, unpretentious architecture that climbs the hillside to the cathedral. Walking through the sloping expanse of the Piazza Grande, you realize Arezzo's story is one of substance over spectacle. It's a city that understands its own intrinsic value, forged over millennia, a quiet testament to the enduring power that lies just beneath the surface. What appears at first glance to be a forest of stone is in fact a landscape sculpted from quartz sandstone, the remnant of an ancient seafloor lifted and fractured some 380 million years ago. Over 3,000 of these monoliths, some reaching over 200 meters in height, dominate the horizon. Each was carved not by sudden cataclysm, but by the patient, relentless work of water and ice expanding in vertical joints, winter after winter, for millennia. The result is a vertical world where subtropical vegetation clings tenaciously to sheer cliffs, and the ever-present mists swirl below, severing the pillars from the earth and leaving them to float in a sea of clouds. To stand here is to witness the profound power of slow, persistent forces, a powerful reminder that the most dramatic landscapes are often not born in an instant, but are meticulously crafted by time itself. The name Fairy Meadows wasn't born from ancient local folklore, but from the awe of German climbers in the 1930s. They christened this place Märchenwiese, a meadow of fairy tales, while preparing to challenge the colossal peak that dominates every view, Nanga Parbat. This is no ordinary mountain. At over 8,000 meters, it is the 9th highest on Earth and the western anchor of the entire Himalayan chain. Herein lies the profound paradox of the landscape. The meadow is an alpine sanctuary, a gentle expanse of green grazed by ponies, yet it serves as a serene balcony to one of the most formidable forces in nature, a peak nicknamed the Killer Mountain for its treacherous ascents. To stand here is to witness the delicate balance of the natural world, a place where an almost ethereal tranquility exists in the direct, humbling shadow of raw, unforgiving power. Unlike the familiar domes and arches that have defined Islamic architecture for centuries, the Faisal Mosque presents a striking, angular silhouette against the Margala Hills. This is the vision of Turkish architect Vedat Dalokay, whose design, inspired by the sloping form of a desert Bedouin tent, won an international competition in 1969. The radical, domeless concept was initially met with skepticism, yet it triumphed to become a potent symbol of a modern Pakistan. Its 4 soaring minarets, each standing 88 meters tall, are not merely decorative but are shaped like the slender sides of the Kaaba in Mecca, subtly weaving tradition into its contemporary form. The structure doesn't just sit on the landscape, it engages with it, creating a powerful dialogue between human ingenuity and natural grandeur. Completed in 1986, it remains more than a place of worship. It is a statement in concrete and marble, a bold confluence of faith, modernity, and the enduring Pakistani terrain. Polignano a Mare presents a dramatic face to the Adriatic, a cascade of whitewashed buildings clinging to the edge of a sheer limestone cliff. But the town's true secret lies not on top of the rock, but within it. This entire coastline is a classic karstic landscape, a porous world of calcium carbonate, sculpted over millennia by the patient work of water. Beneath the bustling piazzas and ancient stone arches lies a hidden network of over 70 sea caves, or grotta marine. For centuries, these natural voids were not just geological curiosities. They were integral to life, serving as dwellings, storerooms, and sanctuaries. Some, like the famed Grotta Palazzese, were transformed into breathtaking banquet halls for the nobility. To understand Polignano is to understand this fundamental duality, a city built in constant, intimate conversation with the sea, which not only defines its borders, but has carved out its very foundations, creating a place that is as much hollowed by nature as it is built by human hands. Just 20 kilometers of water separates Nusa Penida from Bali, yet geologically, it is a world away. Unlike its volcanic neighbor, this island is a massive block of uplifted Miocene limestone, a fossilized coral reef pushed from the ocean floor over 14 million years ago. This porous foundation explains the island's arid character and why, for millennia, the relentless power of the Indian Ocean has been its primary architect, sculpting the dramatic chasms and sheer sea cliffs that define its coastline. Formations like the iconic Arch of Broken Beach are not mere accidents of erosion. They are geological masterpieces, testaments to the patient, powerful artistry of water on stone. To stand on these precipices is to witness a landscape shaped not by fire, but by time and tide, a rugged and untamed outpost on the edge of the Wallace Line, where one ecological world gives way to another. At the very edge of the Gulf of Poets, Porto Venere presents a dramatic final punctuation mark, a fortified village clinging to a sheer rock promontory. The headland itself is a geological marvel, composed of a rare black limestone streaked with threads of gold. This is Portoro marble, a stone so prized since Roman times that it dictated much of the town's early wealth and strategic value. Upon this foundation rises the Church of San Pietro, its alternating bands of stone echoing the natural patterns of the rock beneath. It doesn't feel constructed on the cliff, but rather from it, an organic extension of the earth that has stood guard over this naval passage for nearly 800 years. The ancient name, Portus Veneris, the Port of Venus, seems profoundly fitting. This is a place born not just of human ambition, but from the very beauty of the stone it commands, a lasting testament to the dialogue between geology and history. The searing heat that radiates from these rugged hills tells a story much older than the trees. This is not merely an island chain, but a biological frontier. We are standing on the Wallace Line, a profound demarcation identified in the 19th century that separates the fauna of Asia from that of Australasia. To the west lie the dense, humid jungles of the Sunda Shelf, while here, the landscape shifts to a drier, more sparse savanna, a testament to the collision of two continental plates and two distinct evolutionary worlds. It is in this isolated crucible, forged by volcanic uplift and surrounded by treacherous currents, that life took a different path. This is why the island's apex predator is not a mammal, but a reptile, a living remnant from a Pleistocene epoch, a creature that stalks a world that should no longer exist, a true dragon in the last Garden of Eden. The identity of Cuenca is etched into the very precipice it commands. Its world-famous Casas Colgadas, or hanging houses, appear as an act of architectural defiance, clinging to the sheer cliff face. But this is not simply spectacle. It is a masterful 15th century solution to a profound spatial problem. Hemmed in on a narrow limestone spur, sculpted over eons by the deep gorges of the Huecar and Júcar rivers, the medieval city had no room to grow horizontally. So, its architects went vertical, cantilevering these timber-framed homes directly over the void. What we see is the ultimate adaptation, where the sheer rock wall is not an end, but the beginning of a foundation. It is a powerful, living illustration of a dialogue between human necessity and an uncompromising landscape, a partnership so intimate that it becomes difficult to tell where the geology ends and the architecture begins, a bond that has held fast for more than 5 centuries. Rising from the heat haze of the Cholistan Desert like a colossal mirage, the 40 bastions of Derawar Fort stand in near-perfect symmetry, a testament to a forgotten era of power. Originally constructed in the 9th century, not by the Nawabs who would later claim it, but by a Hindu Rajput ruler from Jaisalmer. Its placement was a masterstroke of strategic design. This was no arbitrary location. The fort anchored a chain of fortifications along the now dry Hakra riverbed, a lost artery of ancient trade and life. To control Derawar was to control the precious water sources and the caravan routes that threaded through this unforgiving landscape. Today, its 30-meter-high walls, stretching for 1,500 meters, enclose a profound silence. They no longer guard against rival armies, but against the sands of time, preserving the echoes of an empire built on water, will, and the command of the horizon.